There are right and wrong ways to practice. I think people idolize the grind too much when the grind is just sitting down and playing mindlessly for hours. I touched on the importance of purposeful practice in the first video, and today we're going to go over how to do that. Alright, it's time for step 1 of the process model, the preparation stage, also known as practice. Preparation is basically improving your game plan by removing your weaknesses. In the prep stage, you identify bad habits and you replace them with good ones, not just get rid of them. This is much easier to do than just getting rid of your bad habits, and it's more effective. This will require you to write down your weaknesses, and they should be in this order: specific to general, most costly, most often, and the ones that cause the most emotional turmoil. And yes, that's important. Before we move forward, it's important that we go through the 4 stages of competence when learning a new skill. And in this case, learning the new skill is breaking a bad habit and replacing it with a good habit. Stage 1. Unconscious incompetence, also known as ignorance. You're unaware of the skill and your lack of proficiency. You do not understand or know how to do something. You do not necessarily recognize the deficit. To tie that back to our focus for this video, you're unaware of the bad habit you have. You need to recognize your own bad habit and the value of removing it before moving on to the next stage. So some of the ways you can identify your bad habit is through VOD review, or you can have another player tell you it. Stage 2. Conscious incompetence, or awareness. You're aware of the skill, but you're not yet proficient. You're aware of the bad habit when you do it and the deficit it presents, even though you still don't quite understand how to fix it. Making mistakes is integral to the stage. Stage 3. Conscious competence, or learning. You're able to use a skill, but only with effort. You're able to stop doing this bad habit, but only if you put all your focus into stopping yourself and doing the good habit instead while you're playing the game. Demonstrating the skill or knowledge requires concentration. It may be broken down into steps, but still requires much focus. Stage 4. Unconscious competence, or mastery. Performing the skill becomes automatic. You no longer have to think about doing the good habit and not doing the bad habit. You practice it so much that it has become second nature. As a result, you can do this while learning a new skill, or in this case, while working on another bad habit. It is internalized and becomes a part of your autopilot. Yes, autopilot can be a good thing if it's good autopilot. I know the word autopilot is usually used in a negative sense, and that's because most people have a bad autopilot. Focus on fixing these issues until you don't have to think about them anymore when you're playing. I'll go into examples of this in my play shortly. Here's another really good quote from the blog post. Remember, the winner of a given set is determined by the time spent before the set, much more than during the set itself. If there are mechanical issues, you can set up some training exercises for yourself. For example, practice Instant Shining Wizard for 10 minutes a day on both sides. Or practice Palatine and down throw bear 10 minutes daily. It's more efficient to practice for short periods of time to ensure it's focused and concentrated practice. This also allows for consistent practice daily since it doesn't eat into the schedule too much. For Tekken specifically, I'll have a video up in the near future on a practice regimen I've been using for more mechanical things. So stay tuned for that. If it's a strategy issue, Alex says he writes about it or he looks at frame data or videos until he understands the problem. Once you understand the issue, you play friendlies or casuals, however you like to call it, with the sole focus of fixing this issue. You autopilot everything else. The goal is not to win games when practicing, it's to replace your bad habits with good ones. Having this mindset makes it so that winning or losing doesn't even matter anymore. You're only focused on improving yourself. When the day of the tournament or the money match comes, then you can worry about winning. Then you can apply everything you've been practicing. But for now, we're only focusing on improving. If it's a mentality issue, you can ask reputable players you know, or you can read on some mental game resources, i.e. the mental game of poker. If you don't have any players you know personally, I found Discords to be useful for this, whether they're general game ones or character specific. Make sure you write this all down when you're doing it yourself. It helps you keep track of everything and it helps you internalize it in your memory better. Let's see an example from Smash and from Tekken. In Smash, one bad habit I had was always giving up more stage control than I had to when something I tried didn't work. When I was unaware of it, this was stage 1. Unconscious competence. I identified that through friends telling me and VOD review. This is stage 2. Conscious incompetence. I was aware of the bad habit, but not how to fix it. Next, I played matches not just with the thought of not doing it as much, but staying close to my opponent and keeping the pressure up. This is a good habit in stage 3, conscious competence. I could work on the bad habit, but only with great focus while playing matches. I eventually practiced this until keeping pressure up and being conscious of my stage control was second nature. This is the 4th stage, unconscious competence. In Tekken, I had a similar habit. I would always backdash way more than I had to in hopes of the opponent whiffing something. I played so passively that I often found myself with my back to the wall, even though the opponent wasn't the one that pushed me there. I was at stage 1 until I identified that the issue I had in Smash was also an issue in Tekken, and probably would have been an issue in any other fighting game I played. This was stage 2, so I began to play matches with the only thing I actively thought about being when I gave up more space than I had to, and keeping up the pressure and closing the distance with dash blocking, the good habit. Just stopping myself from backdashing is not as useful as developing the good habit of dash blocking to safely close space. I would practice this until I reached the 4th stage, where I didn't have to think about it anymore. It's worth noting that weaknesses can include bad sleep, diet, and mentality habits. These can greatly affect your play, and improving them can improve not just your game, but all facets of your life. I've personally been trying to focus on my health a little more recently. This method for practice can be used for all fighting games, and it's how we efficiently use our time. In the next video, we'll look at how to be ready for a tournament or a serious practice session, and how to evaluate the results from those in order to continue drastic improvement. Thanks for watching.